Welcome RSM friends and clients and people who know them. My name is Claud Beltran. This is Bacchus Kitchen where I work and live. Today we're going to talk about cooking a perfect steak. Okay, that's important. We're going to start out with a prime New York. And what I like to do is I first like to take a little chopped garlic and rub it on the steaks. Your steaks are going to already come with garlic rubbed on them, okay? But we're not going to salt and pepper them. Okay, so I rub a little garlic on both sides, okay? And then seasoning is the most important part. Well, there's many important parts which we'll talk about as we go through this. I like to use kosher salt. It's a little easier to handle than an iodized salt. Kosher salt and chopped black pepper, okay, on both sides. We're going to repeat everything we did. Okay, black pepper. Try to, and when you see chefs doing this, high pepper salt thing, and then they just look all fancy, it's not just for looking fancy. It's for getting a good spread all over the steak, okay? A nice even spread, so you don't end up with blotches of things. So look extra fancy at home, okay? And if you want to do this, you can. That's fine. I don't care. Okay. So now you have a perfectly seasoned steak. An important part. When you're cooking a steak at home, it's hard for us to do this at a restaurant because I don't know what anybody's going to order, but I would let this steak sit out for at least 15 minutes before you sear it in the pan, okay? It relaxes the meat, it lets it come to room temperature, it's going to cook more even than it would if you took it right out of the refrigerator, seasoned it, and threw it on a grill or a pan. We're not going to grill these steaks today, we're going to pan sear them, which is one of my favorite ways to do it. So let's head over to the pans. One of the mistakes that a lot of people make, and people say, and this goes for cooking fish too, is not letting the pan get hot enough. Okay, so once you get the pan is hot enough when it starts smoking. A nice, if you have a cast iron, that would be great. If you don't have one, get the thickest pan you can, so that when you're ready to sear the meat, you have the oil starting to smoke, so you can start to see some smoke here. If you're at home, turn your hood or vent on. My hood and vent is not on right now because you wouldn't be able to hear me if it was on, so it's pretty loud here in the kitchen. But now that I see this kind of smoke twirling around here, I'm about ready to start searing. So we're going to lay the steak in like that, okay? So I'm going to give this steak maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes on both sides. But when I start to see this little brown crust forming here along the bottom side of the steak, I'm going to turn the steak 45 degrees, okay? So once like this, and then once like this. It doesn't have to be exactly 45 degrees. It could be 38. Anywhere between 35 and 42 degrees is fine. Okay? I'm going to give it a couple minutes on that side, and then we're going to flip it over and do the other side. All right, we should have a nice crust, I hope. All right. Now, you can see right here, I love all this little burnt garlic pieces and burnt pepper and salt. That's my favorite part of the steak. I wish I could just cut that crusty part off and forget the gooey middle part. Who cares about the gooey middle? I would probably do one steak at a time. Don't try to crowd your pan with 2 steaks. It's going to lower the temperature. You could sear the steaks off one at a time if you're doing 2. Put them on a sheet pan, and then we'll bake them in the oven. Okay. So for now, it's been about a couple minutes. I see the little brown crust again here on the bottom. So again, now I'm going to turn it again 45 degrees. Okay. And from here, at this point, I'm ready to go into the oven. All right. And then we'll talk about temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven to cook it. All right. So that steak is going to be in the oven for, I'm going to say 6-7 minutes. My oven's a little bit faster than than most people because I have a convection air thing. If you have that possibility at your home, turn it on. And we're going to talk about temperatures when I bring the steak out. Explaining medium rare or rare, medium rare, and medium to people is you're going to hold your arm up. Okay, everybody's arms are the same. It doesn't matter whether you're Popeye or skinny little person. Doesn't matter. Okay, this with your hand just neutral, without moving your hand, is rare. Okay, you're going to touch right here, this little part right here, rare. You're going to make a fist, and that's going to feel medium rare. You're going to make a really strong fist. That's going to be well done. Okay, and so what I mean by that is, when I pull the steak out, I usually check it 2-3 times while I'm cooking. I'm going to go like this, go like that. Okay, I'm still rare. I know it's rare because I just threw it in. So we're going to throw it back in the oven. Steak has been in the oven for about, I want to say 7-8 minutes, depending on your oven. Again, let's keep checking this, your likeness, your medium rare, medium, or well done, whatever you like. Probably the most important thing that you should have done by this point is open the bottle of wine. That's an important part. You should open that bottle of wine. It'd be well into a glass by now. Okay. Second part about cooking a great steak or cooking any great protein, besides letting it come to temperature before you cook it, is letting it rest. So back up your time so that if you know that you want to eat dinner at 7:30, you're gonna let the steak sit out for 15 minutes, you're gonna cook it for 8 minutes, and you want to let it sit out for 10 minutes. Okay? And when it comes out of the oven, let's put a piece of foil over the top of it to kind of retain that heat, and it's gonna make the muscle, when you cook it, contracts and is from the heat. And as you let it rest, it relaxes away from the middle without a little brown and then a little jelly part. Okay, so steak. Oh yeah, beautiful. This beautiful crust on this side. I'm gonna actually make this side the presentation side. If you want, you can cut up your steak. If you don't want to cut it, you could cut. You can cut it in half. Sometimes here at the restaurant, we cut them up. Okay, cut them up like that. However you want to do it. You don't have to cut it. If you want to just put it straight on your plate, you're fine with that too.